Yeah, and you'll be back soon.
Good evening. This is a call to order for the regular Board of Aldermen meeting at the Salado Municipal Building, 301 North Stagecoach Road, Salado, Texas. Date is September 4th, 2025. It is 6:31 p.m. Mr. De La Rosa, please call the roll.
Mr. Mayor, all members are present. You have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Join me in prayer, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for another beautiful day in Central Texas. And Lord, we just ask that you be with us tonight and you guide these deliberations and guide the decisions and just give us the wisdom to make the right calls on the things that we're going to talk about tonight, Lord. On a personal level, I ask that you just please just put your hand on my wife and just comfort her and heal her body, Lord. And we just ask you to give the doctors the wisdom and the knowledge to do what they have to do, and let's get this thing figured out. We ask all these things in Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to salute the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, one state, under God, one, indivisible. All right, item 1, public comments. The Board of Aldermen welcomes comments from citizens on issues and items of concern not on the agenda. Those wishing to speak must sign in before the meeting begins and observe a 5-minute time limit when addressing the board. Speakers will have one opportunity to speak during this time period. Speakers desiring to speak on an agenda item will be allowed to speak when the agenda item is called. Inquiries about matters not listed on the agenda will either be directed to staff or placed on a future agenda for Alderman consideration. I've got 2 folks signed up to speak here, but I don't know, these are from Raymond James. Is that correct? Sir, you'll be able to speak during the presentation.
We're going to waive that.
Okay. That's for Jim Bowie and
Jeff Billion.
So both of you are going to wait until.
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. All right. Any more public comments?
Yes, sir. My name is Holly Johnson. I am the advocate for the.
Can you come up to the microphone, ma'am? Sorry.
Oh, no. I'm new at this. It's like going to a board, sir. Good evening, sir. My name is Holly Johnson. I am the advocate for the Purple Heart, Chapter 1876, and we are hosting a ball, and we would like to cordially invite yourself as well as your chambermen to our ball. It is February 21st, 2026 at Coppers Cove Civic Center. I have my business card as well as the flyer that I would like to present to you and to your chair, or and if you would please email me, let me know if you're going to be available to come so we can set you a table aside. That is all.
Sir, come on up.
Good afternoon, Mayor. My name is John Footman. I'm with the Military Order of the Purple Heart, the Region 5 Chief of Staff. My thing I want to let everybody know, how many retirees we have in here from the military? Okay. Save the date for Fort Hood, the 50th anniversary for Military Retiree Appreciation Day. Friday, October the 31st, 2025 through Saturday the 1st. We'll have the gym open on Friday night. We'll have a dinner and everything for all retirees. So we appreciate it if you would love to come out. And we have a QR code on here. I give this to you, sir.
Yes, sir.
And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Anybody else? All right, item 2, consent agenda. Approval of the minutes of August 21st, 2025 Board of Aldermen meeting. Mr. Del Rosa, anything to add to this? No, sir. Okay, Alderman Sandor, do you have any questions? No questions. Alderman Lassiter? No. Mayor Pro Tem Hurst?
No questions.
Alderman Dunch?
No questions.
Alderman McDonald?
No questions,
Any
Mayor.
public comments on the consent agenda?
Sir, could you speak a little slower so I can understand what you're saying?
Any comments on the consent agenda?
Try again.
Sorry, if I talk any slower, we're gonna be here till midnight. Any comments on the consent agenda? On the consent agenda?
No, I
No?
just wanted you to slow down so I can understand
Okay.
what you're saying.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
Motion made by Alderman McDonald to approve as written. Second. Seconded by Alderman Sandor. Any further discussion?
Question.
Question called by Mayor Pro Tem Hurst. All in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented, say yes.
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 Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? It carries 5-0. 3, discuss and consider possible action regarding any item removed from the consent agenda. There were none. 4, presentation and public hearing. A, on the creation of the Mustang Springs Public Improvement District in accordance with Chapter 372 of the Texas Local Government Code. And this is a continuation from the public hearing held on August 21st, 2025. Mr. De La Rosa?
Okay, Mayor and Alderman, what I'm going to ask is a representative for Mustang Springs Development make a presentation on a PowerPoint to us. After that, I'll have the bond counsel give you some information. Okay? Please don't ask any legal questions. Okay? If you have any legal questions, we'll handle that in executive session. And then afterwards, then Mayor, I suggest that we take the public hearing comments.
Okay.
So, somebody from Mustang Springs that can walk us through this PowerPoint presentation? Do you want the...
Mayor, Alderman, my name's James Kirby. I'm the developer and one of the owners of Mustang Springs.
You'll need to speak right into the mic.
I'm one of the owners of and developer of the Mustang Springs development. Mustang Springs development is a 1,106 acre development. It's currently being planned in 3 different sections. The section 1, which we've already under construction, is 135 lots. Section 2 is planned to be a replacement of Section 1, which is 151 lots. Section 3, we really don't know what the market's going to do in 6 or 7 years from now, so that we'll let market kind of dictate what we're going to end up doing there. So that's why that doesn't, if you look at the exhibit, that's why that's not really lotted out at this point. I was asked to address a couple of things that have changed from the original concept when we were here a time back, working through a PID request. A couple of things that were on the last one was we've been in conversations with the school district on trying to locate a school inside the development. They looking at timing, and actually we had a meeting just a week ago to kind of get their update on their timing. We did have them toward the front of the project at the beginning. They actually asked us if we would actually centralize the school, so that's one of the reasons that it's not showing up front. And we, at this time, are visiting with a couple other groups. Years from now, this will not be anything that would come soon, but a CCRC campus, which is called Continual Care Residential Communities. I've done several of those. So it's just a placeholder for right now. We've been negotiating with the city on the placement of a fire station, substation, and a police substation. Those would now have been decided and located toward the front of the development. And other than that, the rest of the concept plan should represent what's always been there. So those were the major changes to the plan from the past. it's just kind of going through that. I've already kind of explained what those parts are. I've been also asked to kind of give an update of where we are with water, and so I'll go ahead and just give that kind of an overview of that. We've currently, we're in negotiations with kind of a long-term water source, but what we're having to work with right now is what we have in hand. We've drilled 2 wells. They both have tested out roughly between 48 and 52 p.m. That supports anywhere from 88 lots. We currently have already submitted to TCEQ, already been assigned our numbers. We're supposed to be getting our first comments, which I think that is dated for the 29th of this month. We'll turn those around and just start working toward our operations permit. So we're in the queue and just working through that process. I'm not sure what else I can update you on that. So and really, I just have, if y'all have any questions, I really can't address any of the PID financing or anything. That's going to be the consultants behind them. I don't know if it really is anything, but
No,
help me. Yeah, help me.
Sorry, Patrick Bourne with Sundance Analytics, the PID consultant for the developer. Just as he was going through the project, he wanted to kind of recap, go through the overview that he had presented. And then just one of the other slides that we had on there is just, continuing next steps as we move through with the city, continually working hand in hand with sorry, I said city, I meant village and the board, right? Hand in hand in a partnership and making this project progress to create a great development for the village. And so we kind of walked through some of these in prior meetings. It was in the presentation, but didn't know if you wanted us to kind of go through that again or wait until you hear from your council and your PID consultant as well. But available to answer any questions that you may have at this time.
What's your timeline, Mr. Kirby, and kind of sequence of events in the development as far as commercial? I know there was the type of residential was kind of addressed in your PowerPoint presentation, but the timeline for each of those phases.
So, as far as if you're talking commercial itself, or the part up front, Mayor, that's really that's all neighborhood support. I mean, I wish I could tell you that I could actually pinpoint. That's really going to be market driven. Typically on my past developments in the history, usually it takes anywhere from somewhere around 250 to almost 350 rooftops before it starts supporting commercial up front. And so whatever the market will allow to end up creating that volume. As far as the police station and the fire station, those are actually tied also to, they have dates, but they're also tied basically to permits or rooftops as well, so that we make sure that there's a purpose for them, first of all, and that the village is ready to man and so forth, the facilities. So I think those were well thought out. Gregory did a great job in working with staff and working with us and trying to figure out what that timing should end up being. So there again, a lot of that was tied to rooftops. We would like to get to those as quick as we can, but there again, it really is market driven on rooftops whenever it can actually support the commercial use up front.
So, but aside from being market driven, it's also contingent on water, correct?
Yes, sir.
You have I know you said you have 2 wells out there now.
So I can expand on that then. So we have 2 with a third one that we will actually drill, even though we don't need it right now. That we'll actually go ahead and drill, so we have it in reserve with 2 more already located. So we have a 5-well system that we've already laid out and laid that out based on so that we could actually land plan with it too. So they will be strategically placed. And there again, we are working with long-term alternative stuff that is 3 to 5 years out that we're in negotiations with, but we don't see ourselves. 3 to 5 wells is that's a lot of water for us for what we have planned over the next 3 to 5 years.
For phase one though, you got those two, are those producing right now? Those 2 wells that you referenced,
They've already been drilled, tested, and we already know what the GPM is. Yes, sir.
What's your commitment from your builders? What type of builders are building out there, and do you have anything under contract currently?
Yes, sir. There's already builders. There's 2 different answers than that. Right now, we've sold quite a bit to customs because builders typically won't come in and contract until they know that they could actually pull building permits. And so we're just now getting to a point where we can forecast what that is. So we have been entertaining, and we have sold to some builders now, or actually contracted. I better use that word. Contracted with some builders. Our builders in this phase one are all. We don't have production builders in there. Builders are all pretty much custom builders. I wish I had the list in front of me to go ahead and be able to tell you who they were, but I know Endeavor Group is one of the builders. There's a couple of local builders. I don't have them in front of me right now, but a couple of local builders that have come in and expressed interest, and a couple actually have contracted. I think one of them, I apologize, I don't know the names.
Okay.
Mayor, if I may?
Sure.
Wanted to ask a clarification on the 2 wells. Are the 2 wells considered private wells and not public water system wells, or have they been?
They're public water system wells. They're in TCQ right now, already being permitted, yes, sir.
Are being permitted or have been permitted?
They've been assigned, they're going through the system to get the operational
So
permit.
they've been applied for?
Yes, sir. They've been assigned the number. We get the first comments back on the 29th of this month.
Okay, because I don't recall seeing that in the application you submitted a couple of months ago.
It wasn't in the application a couple of months ago.
Okay.
We did take, and we shared that with Gregory. We shared that with, and I thought maybe he had shared it with you, the documentation showing that that the permit and the assignment of the numbers and everything have already been done with TCEQ.
Okay, so they're in the works.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
How many lots have been sold out there, and what was the communication to the individuals or the entities that purchased these lots as far as what next steps are and water and all those things?
So we give a schedule to the people who end up selling the lots and so forth. We actually our marketing people. I mean, that's what I'm referring to. They have the one-on-one relationship, or with who's been sold, and so whenever there's a construction schedule, or whenever we know of a schedule, we produce that schedule and we present that to them. So they stay tuned, and that's one of the reasons that whenever I just explained earlier, we don't sell to builders at this stage just because, or close with builders because they close to build. The people that we have sold to date knew that it's a pre-development sale. They knew that there was an extended time frame before they were going to, either they wanted to build or they were willing to wait for that time frame, whichever it was. And so we've been very transparent on our time frames and when we were going to be able to deliver a lot that they could actually build on.
And how many lots have been sold?
I believe it's 40.
40?
Yes, sir.
And how many have not been sold but are kind of on, I guess, a deposit's been put down to hold
If I had to guess, it's maybe 16, 15 to 16.
them? Okay, that's all I have for right now. Mr. Sandor? Yeah, so your 2 wells, I think if I heard you right, you said they're proving to produce at 45 to 50 gallons per minute, is that correct?
So Lower Trinity, that just seems, but those 2 specific ones, yes, sir. And that's pretty much what even our water engineers and everything says. That's pretty much what we're going to be able to count on. We're not, far as something, on future wells that we just hit some kind of a gold mine or something, that's pretty much what we're going to have to rely on as far as the production of any well in the Lower Trinity.
Okay, and so are those wells planning to be utilized on phase 1 only?
So the wells currently are only going to be used for phase 1.
And how many lots are in phase 1?
135.
Okay. And when do you plan on implementing the public safety, the fire station specifically? What I'm getting to is how do you plan on producing water for a fire event? You'll have to have a water plug or a tank or some kind of storage somewhere, I presume, if you're using a well.
Well, no, in fact, we've already installed fire hydrants. It's going to be a pressured system. I'm not sure how that. There's fire hydrants and it's a pressurized system.
So you have a main running through the development
Yes,
now with plugs on it,
Yes, sir.
but no water in it,
No, sir.
and that water is going to be produced from these said 2 wells?
Yes, sir.
And these 2 wells are going to produce enough water for plus or minus 85 lots per well?
No, that would have produced closer to about 180.
Per well?
No,
In total?
about 85 to 88 LUEs per.
Gotcha.
well. Yes.
Okay.
And we're drilling just there again. We had to wait. Our driller had a back surgery and so forth. So otherwise we would have had the 3rd well already drilled. So we had to wait for the driller. It's a specific driller that we were requested to use. Well, I should be careful when I say it, but we were recommended to use.
Sure.
And so we waited for him. He's going to be out there this upcoming week and go ahead and drill the 3rd one. And we'll go ahead and get the records for it, even though we won't need it. We're still going to at least have that one there. And then we've already located our other 2 locations there. Again, we're planning for a 5-well system, while we feel like that's going to take care of us for a long time.
Yes, sir.
Unless the market just does something crazy.
Sure.
So, yeah.
In your experience, do you think you have a good chance of getting approval for the application to make those 2 wells public?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes. There's no reason that we won't. Yes, sir.
I have a question for you, Mr. Del Rosa. So, do you happen to know what the plan would be in that community once homes start being built? Let's say that they have, well, we know we have 2 wells we can talk about now, and we have one that's going to happen pretty quickly, it sounds like. So 2 or 3 wells. Let's assume that the 3rd well produces the same as these first 2. How does that work if they do have a major fire where they need to utilize the water plug once they charge those lines? Will that just make all of the water non-usable for every rooftop in there and every multi-use building in there?
No, Alderman, the developer will be required to build a ground storage tank. That development must comply with the city's codes, including
I asked that a minute ago about a storage tank.
Yeah. Yeah, we've not seen the plans, and I'm sure he doesn't really know how that works, but
Well, I misunderstood the question of what you were, how, so there's
If you have people living there,
there's a 60,000 gallon storage facility there.
Now?
In fact, it's already been bought.
Okay,
So, yes, sir.
that's the plan.
Yeah, so I apologize, I didn't understand the question, what you were trying to get out of the question. There's 60,000 gallon storage facility, and in fact, there again, it's already bought. And in fact, it's already been, the plans have already been done, ready to actually go ahead and, because what the real plan, that we want to get the storage facility actually in place. We want to go ahead and use the well, even though we would be just putting raw water at that point into it. That way we have fire protection, period, for the development while the development's being completed. So the storage facility will actually be active before the water lines will.
And Alderman, if part of the negotiations and these agreements, and one of these has the requirements that we, as the village, would actually inspect all facilities, including this infrastructure, right? So, in other words, part of those negotiations were, and I hear this, well, it's not your water system, it's ours, we're our own. Well, it's also your home, and we inspect it. We inspect everything, so we did not waive that, and we will be inspecting all the lines. And there are currently, Mr. Kirby does pay to have all the infrastructure that's going in the ground, and many of those reports are either with MRB or they're now in-house. So the ground storage tank, whether 60,000 gallons will be able to accommodate 135 homes, is yet to be determined, because until we run those calculations, hydraulic, it may not. You may need more. So we're going to meet that International Park Code requirements that we've adopted.
That is something we did early on too, though, is we did hire the independent inspectors that, in my opinion, works for the city, I mean, the village and us. I mean, the reports come out, they go to them at the same time they come to us.
Who are they using?
MRB Group.
Yeah. Do you have any commercial use? I see, this is hard for me to read on here. Is mixed use?
Mixed use is a broad I guess label for commercial.
It could also be multifamily.
It probably not. It probably wouldn't. The multifamily is pretty much designated right behind that.
Okay.
So no, we would hope that the residents would be able to support the commercial, because there again, it's a community.
Sure.
So we just need enough rooftops to be able to support anyone who would end up coming in and want to put commercial use in.
Yeah, that makes sense. So based on what you know about your water today, are you able to predict yet how soon you would be able to allow people to start building out there?
Yes, sir.
Roughly.
Yes, sir. We feel like well, no later than first quarter of next year.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Within there. What is? Can you speak to what that commercial element looks like? Here it says commercial / office spaces. Is it more office spaces than local retail, or is it planned to put some more local retail?
Mayor, it's going to be a mixture of. It's going to be a little bit of a mixture of both, and it's really hard to predict until you have the end user who comes in there and starts to work with you. This is the commercial use there again. As much as developers always want to focus and get that part of it in, it's always kind of backwards. You really need the rooftops in the neighborhood before you can dictate or start to find out what the support of that neighborhood really is. Is it going to be bistros? Is it going to be more restaurants? Or is that too remote for it? Is it going to end up being more office that is more support to the neighborhood? It's going to be a collection of that stuff, but time will actually tell us what that looks like.
Okay. All right, Alderman Lassiter.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
Working now? Okay. Those were good questions, Alan, and you took a lot of what I was thinking, so thank you. So other items I'd like to cover with you, Mr. Kirby. On the site plan here, concept plan you have, the continuing care residential communities, 14 acres, you said that was kind of a safe proof right there. It may be, it may not, or is that really going to be 14 acres? Couldn't hold more than an elementary site. Is that what would be contemplated by Salado ISD?
Okay, so originally that was the site that was set aside for Salado School.
Okay.
It was in talking with the school district itself, they came back and after whether it was thought about a little bit more, I can't tell you what think tank they went through, but they came back and said they would rather have the school as more of a neighborhood school, so more centrally located. So that's why we said, okay, well, we'll go ahead and come back and centrally locate it, and we'll work with them on what that location looks like. So that is still kind of work in progress, which would be back there toward that greened out areas, that phase 3 that's there. So it'd be somewhere in that area that we'll work out with them. Because we had that already as a placeholder, that 14 acres or so, I've actually built 4 different CCRC campuses. And so I'm very familiar with it. I have a passion for those projects. My mom lived in one for a long time until she passed, and my father-in-law is in one right now. So anyway, I have a passion for those things. And so that's something that I would probably be involved with. That is all timing, though. There again, that's probably 4 or 5 years down the road. You get enough rooftops. I have, the utility support, everything in place, and at that point, if that makes sense, I would sure like to do something like that.
Is there a formal commitment between the developer and Salado ISD for a future site within there, or is it just an informal idea at this point? If you can answer that,
I would answer it if I could. So let me answer it the best way I can.
Okay.
They, according to the last meeting, and there again, that's a fresh meeting, only about a week ago. They have already at board level committed that this was going to be their next elementary location. And so, but I don't have that in mind. That is just something they told me that at board level that's something that they have committed to. And they also told me the timing that they currently, one of the schools, they're going to go ahead and, I guess whenever they're moving, I guess it's high school. I'm going to get this maybe wrong. I hope not. It's either the high school they're moving, they're going to end up splitting the school, and one of the elementaries is going to go into that. That's going to end up bridging that for a period of time. I think that's what I was told. And that would end up making two 400 student schools at the time that one of those schools starts to approach close to 800 students. At that time's when they need this school. So there again, that timing is really based on the growth of this community. And they were estimating, I'll tell you what they were estimating. They thought that they would be looking at needing to start at least plans on a project by the end of next year for the following year for a school. So that would be summer of 2027, something like that.
Or a potential bond.
They have to get the plans and everything first, get all their budgets and everything. So they raised enough money to at least do that. One of the things that, and I will speak about this, I told them if it accelerates things that we would end up sponsoring, some of the soft costs, so that it would allow them to end up getting there a little bit quicker, so that they'd have because sometimes the soft cost is the hardest cost for schools, or really it's villages, cities, or anything. Soft cost seems to be the hardest thing to get raised. That's something that we would actually help them to be able to get their center.
Okay. Back more towards the present and not so much in the future on the school district, but I have heard that that was a planned location for the future growth of Salado, and 15 acres is adequate for elementary, but certainly not middle school or high school.
No, sir.
But I guess that could change if it called for, because of the amount of land you have.
Yeah, the high schools, typically, they try to keep those out of neighborhoods.
Yes.
You know, so it's a middle school every now and then, you kind of see a middle school in a neighborhood, but even those are usually a little bit more remote.
Right.
Or on the fringes. Elementaries are pretty much what are desired inside neighborhoods.
That would be reasonable to expect.
Yes, sir.
So back to the present, we talked about water. I thought I understood you to say that, and I guess I'm wrong based off a follow-up question you asked, that I thought you said that the 2 wells could serve up to 85 lots. Maybe I misheard that.
Twice.
Each well
Yes,
can satisfy 85 lots, so 170 potential servicing units, LUEs, if you will, out of that.
The calculation is you get 0.6 residents out of every GPM. So
Okay.
that's your math.
Okay.
So you just basically take 50 divided by 0.6, and that's your math.
And is the 3rd well going to be completed during the phase 1 project? Is it scheduled for drilling shortly?
Well, no, it'll be drilled this next week.
Okay.
But it won't be there's no reason to put it on production until we're ready for it.
And do you have wells 1 and 2 capped and ready for production?
They've already been drilled, tested. We're waiting for the operational part to go ahead and actually, they've already been designed to. Then they go and finish.
Complete it.
Exactly, yes, sir. They finish it along with the pump stations.
Okay, that brings me to the next question about design and the status of where you are on your engineering and construction of a water treatment facility to clean up this water for potable water.
Yeah, so
Is Pape Dawson doing that?
Dawson and another engineer,
Okay.
Collier Engineering. Those are the 2 engineering companies.
And when would you expect have plans been submitted for the water plant to the village?
No, sir. The plans won't be submitted until they give us, TCEQ hands us that next permit. We expect it shortly after the 29th. And
Of September. Okay.
Yes, sir. And at that point, then they'll go ahead and complete the plans based on the permit.
Okay, Pape Dawson to MRB.
And Collier, yes.
And Collier.
Yes.
Okay.
There's 2 different engineers.
Are there any expected delays from TCEQ on being able to push through with your permit and start design and construction?
So a lot of times, government agencies and so forth, they'll get a reputation of you submit something, it goes into a black hole and so forth. And TCEQ is very regiment. I mean, one of the few organizations, very regiment. That's why they even publish their timeframes of when you would expect comments and so forth, and they stick to those things.
Okay. I guess my bottom line question really is going to get back to phase 1, and the mayor was kind of touching on it when and I believe you said that no later than the first quarter of 2026 you would expect a certificate of completion or finalization of your infrastructure plans for water and roads and your water storage facility.
Substantial completion.
Substantial completion.
Substantial completion. So Our current calendar is a little more aggressive than that. I'm telling you, first quarter. Our current calendar shows us that I'm comfortable saying still the first quarter. Yes.
First quarter of the year.
Yes.
And then, correct me if I'm wrong, there is Mr. De La Rosa, if we have a request for model homes starting prior to the completion of the development, which is not abnormal, is that a discretionary issue by you or the Board of Aldermen to start model homes prior to the completion of phase one so as to expedite his selling process and get things moving?
Yes, sir, the plans would be submitted to my office.
Yes.
If they can provide that they have potable water and restroom facilities, even portable, so then we would issue building permit for model home only and not for human occupancy. In other words, it can't become a residence. And that is very common, and yes, we would handle that.
Okay.
The major thing that you really have to have in place is, in that I brought up earlier, that 60,000 gallon storage facility and so forth.
Right.
That's there for fire protection.
Right.
So
Yeah.
regardless, you got to have fire protection if you're going to allow anyone to permit it.
Right. I do understand and accept your explanation of, from a developer standpoint, the timing of things can change over 2 to 3 years dramatically, and I did not think you were evading that question in terms of saying you really don't know. There's a plan, but it has to be subject to change in future sections, and I understand that, and I think the concept plan, the development agreement would allow for that. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so my last question is, have you, well, maybe more than just one, but have you fee simpled those sales to the individuals versus the builders and a kind of a holding contract, or the people that had bought outside of a home builder, have they bought and closed on those lots?
Yes.
So you've tendered fee simple to them?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's a recorded plan.
Okay. And you do have contracts with them that were signed prior to such that stipulated that there was no guarantee on a timeline of finishing the development, even though best efforts would be made along that way. So
Yes, sir.
you don't really have an open-ended, I don't like to use the word liability, but let's just say an open-ended obligation as to a certain date to finish that phase one development,
No,
right?
but there is best efforts and all those type. There is language like that. Yes, sir.
And phase one is strictly, at this point, a septic system phase.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we designed phase one to be septic. We actually designed phase two to be septic too. I mean, it's the lot sizes are designed to be septic. So in the event that there was an issue with sewer for any reason, then we would still be able to continue with our phase two and everything would be septic.
Okay.
But we don't anticipate that.
Yeah, because it only has to be a half acre to qualify for septic system in Bell County, right?
Yes, sir. And in our first section, these are all averaging 2 acre lots.
Oh, yeah, okay. Mayor, I'm finished.
Mr.
Thank
Mayor?
you. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I can
Yes,
be
sir.
recognized?
Yes, sir.
To get back to Alderman Lassiter's question regarding the school building, the first amendment to the development agreement, which is agenda item 5C, Section 2.6 of that agreement says Section 3.1.12 regarding the dedication of 15.3 acres for use as a public school site is deleted. So in other words, all 1,105 acres, it is no longer in our development agreement, and should you approve this development agreement, it's been removed. So, I mean, they can do whatever they want with their land, but it was addressed. I thought I'd read this over the weekend. I wanted to do that. And plus, I think I wanted a clarification. I think I heard Mr. Kirby say that the selling lots be simple, but that they're platted. I don't recall the subdivisions being platted. I remember the 1,105 acres being platted in totality, but not the subdivision of the 1,100 acres, 1,105. So it may be, they might have been.
Phase one was platted, I'm sorry.
It's a recorded
That's the
plat?
clarity. Yeah, phase one.
Okay, so that would have
Just
occurred
phase
probably during your time, Mayor?
What's that?
That might have happened during,
I don't think, I think Mayor Coggin
That was
done a while back.
yes.
okay. Because I remember we did a Scrivener's error correction on the entire plat, but
Correct.
I've never seen the other plat, so, okay. I just
Thank-
wanted,
Thank you for that clarification on that, because I did read that and I was kind of trying to figure out what really was the case. So, okay, appreciate that.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem Hurst?
Oh, you just answered all my questions. Thank you, Alderman.
Alderman Dutch?
I think that was thorough, but thank you. I'm not having any further questions at this time.
Okay, Alderman McDonald?
No further questions at this time. Thank you.
All right. I just have one more, I guess, kind of a point to this about is if the board moves forward and allows this bid to be created this evening, I just want it to be understood that there's not going to be any assessment levied until there's water out there.
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay.
That was understood when we negotiated this.
All right. That's all I've got. Mr. Roach, do you have anything else?
No questions.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kirby. I appreciate it. I'm going to open it up to public comments now. I saw you raise your hand. Come on.
Larry Michael, Mayor, Alderman, staff. Larry Michael, 1346 Long Meadow, Salado, Texas, 76502. A couple clarifications. One, what's the quality of the water out of those two wells? Because if I remember correctly, attending under Clearwater's meeting, they were less than 50 GPM per well. And the water was so brackish it would have to be desalinated and treated because of the heavy metals in it. Having said that, if you're going to pump that into your fire hydrant system, what kind of damage could you expect to that system and the integrity of it? And what is your recovery rate if you have to desalinate? Is that 80 gallons total go to 50? Does it go to 40? As your engineers analyze that and come up with a solution to meet your needs, number one. I was a bit concerned that you located the fire and police station in a 100-year floodplain. I think that's a 100-year floodplain now. It's right at the bottom of that big box culvert. It's encroaching upon the culvert that goes under 2843. I guess that's it for now.
Mr. Kirby, would you like to address some of these questions, sir?
Well, the first question was about, I guess, the quality of the water. So the quality of the water, I mean, the sample tests and everything that they've received, it didn't receive anything that showed any concerns like that. So we would have been flagged on that. And so that wasn't, as far as the property being in the floodplain, we've identified the floodplain, and the property is sufficient to build what we said we could build with everything outside of any kind of a floodplain. So, as far as the property that is referred to where the police station and the fire station would be, there's the property is out of the floodplain. There is a channel that goes through there and affects a very small part of the property, but the property has more than enough room to build both facilities. So we wouldn't have planned it that way. So.
Okay, that's good, thank you. Anybody else?
Jim Boynton, 3565 FM 2843. The plan, it sounds like to me, is to have a 60,000 gallon tank. It's hard to hear back there, so I'm going over what I think I was hearing. A 60,000 gallon tank. If you had a fairly decent fire out there and you had 3 engines pumping water, they're 1,500 gallons a minute. That's 4,500 gallons a minute with 3 pumpers. How long do you guys think 60,000 gallons is going to last? On top of that, you're going to have to be sure that your tank is fully full, and people are going to be wanting to use it to water swimming pools and all of that. It sounds like a long stretch to run that many houses on a 60-gallon well. I don't have the figures for that because I wouldn't know. I do know that if you got 3 pumpers out there going, nowadays they're 1,500 gallons a minute. They're probably going to have to use big water because we only have, at our fire station tonight in Salado, we only have 2 firefighters on duty. You get out there with a big fire, they're going to have to hook up to the hydrant and pump big water to it because they don't have enough guys to get on hand lines. Seems like to me it'd be best to do what everybody up to this point has said. When we have water, we'll move forward. I don't think, I've been in the Trinity Sands, and it's actually has a lot of sulfur in it. I own a well that's in the Trinity Sands. There are problems with pumping out of that on your well. So it's easier to be cautious and be sure things are right rather than try to help him move along. Not that I want to stop him, but without water and without particular sewer, all the word from everybody from our city council meetings all the way through have been, without water, we're not moving forward. Thanks.
And just to clarify, we're not moving forward on anything. We're talking about the creation of this bid, but as we just discussed a moment ago, there won't be any levies assessed until they have water out there. And they're not going vertical with the exception of model homes until they get water out there. Anybody else? Nope. Okay. Is that it, Mr. De Rosa? We just close this public hearing out?
Yeah, I don't, unless you want to leave it open depending on how these items get voted on. So let's leave it open for now, Mayor.
Sounds good. Thank you. All right, 5, discussion and possible action on to select an underwriter for any potential Village of Salado special assessment revenue bond transactions for the financing of the Mustang Springs Public Improvement District. Mr. De La Rosa.
Okay, Mayor and Alderman, Gregory Miller, I'll let the gentleman introduce themselves with Raymond James. It's a firm, a financial advisor firm. So, and there's a PowerPoint presentation up there. And do one of you want the controller?
Sure.
Mayor, Board of Aldermen, thank you for allowing us to be here and presenting our credentials. My name is Jim Bowie, and former resident of Bell County. It's always nice being back in the area. And we'll take you through our presentation. We've been asked to present our underwriting credentials, and I'll start with, Jeff, you would, Section 1. Section 1. There we go. This is just a snapshot of kind of our activity in the bond underwriting that we do across the United States. We are the second most active as far as bond transactions, kind of year over year. This last go around, I think in 2024, we did about a little over 1,090 transactions underwritten. And all this really tells you is we're in the market quite a bit, and it allows us to know who the investors are for bond underwriting, specifically, I guess, for today's discussion, PIDs. Who are the investors? And so we do have our hand on the pulse as far as who those investors are. I'll take you to the next page. This is just since 2018. This is just a snapshot of where we've served as an underwriter. This is on 68 national assessment districts transactions. It's been an aggregate of about 1.3 billion. Got a couple of pages there. I'm not going to go through each and every one, but that's just a snapshot of our experience. If you look at just our overall experience and rankings as far as underwriting, specifically in Texas, this is where we are year to date as a bond underwriter. This is all Texas. We're ranked currently number 1. We've done about 60 issues year to date. And that's fairly typical for us. On a national level, we're the 6th ranked bond underwriter in the U.S. So this again kind of goes to our experience and our background and our relativeness in the bond underwriting community. And with that, I think I'm going to turn it over to Jeff. I'll let you talk about the Castle Hills transaction.
So Castle Hills is a large master plan community 25 miles north of Dallas in the town of Louisville. And this is a transaction we started banking in the late 1990s all the way up until it was annexed by the city in November of 2021. It's a 2,900 acre development with over 4,300 homes, and it consists of 7 different PIDs. And kind of the thing to point out here is we took investors out there, rating agencies out there, and managed to get 4 of the PIDs rated, which is kind of unique. Typically, PID bonds are viewed as too risky for rating agencies to give a rating to. And also, the city annexed the development in November of 2021. The developer built everything on time, on schedule, as planned. And the city is kind of a good success story for the city. You got to capture all the AB of that development.
Okay, this is just our commitment to Texas and a snapshot of how involved we are in the state. We've got about 382 locations across Texas, and we're very well represented in Bell County. In Bell County, we've got 9 registered reps, brokers, that can sell bonds locally if that's ever a need, want, or desire. Since we've done about 1,500 different Texas transactions with more than about $313 billion in Texas. We've been in Texas since 1994, and since that time have continued to develop and grow. But this isn't just a snapshot of our footprint in Texas. Texas is important to us. Jeff and I were both in Dallas, but we've got 4 public finance offices throughout the state. But we've got over 1,100 employees. We also have our underwriting desk is in Dallas. We have 7 underwriting desks across the United States. But for Texas and doing all the bond transactions that we do in Texas, we have a specific underwriting desk along with dedicated sales and traders for municipal bonds.
And also, want to point out we have done deals with Salado ISD, Bell County.
Yes, so we've been very active in this area. So we've worked with Salado ISD. We've worked with Bell County. We've done 14 transactions for them. City of Killeen has been very active in years past. We've done a lot of work with both Temple, City of Temple, and Temple ISD. So we have been extremely active in Bell County. Bell County is actually has been comparably to other counties fairly active, and I think that's a testament to all the growth that's kind of happening in this corridor. For example, Temple, we did a very complicated TERS district for them, and that's part of that loop that goes around the city. But that did have residential development in it, and Temple has been a very active player in the municipal bond market. But that's just a snapshot of what we've done in Bell County. Yeah, regarding capital strength and capital commitment, this is a snapshot of our financial strength and our ability to access, the capital markets, as well as the ability to underwrite. And since 2024, we've committed more than $548 million to purchase unsold bond balances for our Texas clients. This comes into play when you're out in the market, and just to give you a recent example, the Texas ISD market, there was a mad rush of issuers to go to market this past spring, and it was specifically related to new legislation that came out from the Texas legislature. So you had a lot of investors that were trying to get to market prior to September 1. And when you're overly saturated with that type of paper, you have a lot of investors that will get their full, and you may not have sold every single maturity for a transaction. And that's why you want to have an underwriter that has the capital to come in and actually underwrite, buy those bonds, take those into our inventory. We'll try and sell them out, over the next 3 or 4 days, weeks. We hold overall, probably about $450 million in municipal bonds in our inventory on any given time.
And what I did with this research is I looked at all the Texas PIT bonds issued since 2020 and pulled all the bondholders. So these are the people who buy the bond deals for all the Texas PITs when they come to market. And so just to give you an example of who would be possible investors, would you guys report with this PIT issuance? And these are relationships we have with all these investors, and sell bonds to them on a daily basis. And lastly here, just want to give a highlight. So our credit committee, we do have an in-house credit committee that reviews every deal we do, and it's very project dependent. And so, the last thing we want to do is waste anyone's time, whether it be Mr. Kirby or the village. And so as we get more details of the transaction, we will run that through our credit committee, and they'll either say, yes, this is something we can do, no, it's not. And so we will give you guys a definite answer, yes, we can underwrite this deal, no, we can't. So we don't want to give you a long maybe, and just wanted to make that known ahead of time so that we're not making any promises we can't. And that's really it. With that, we'll open it up to any questions.
Mr. Miller, I'm going to have you clock in. I know you're on the clock, so I'm going to put you to work for a second. I just want to, if you can, just kind of speak to the board. And
good evening, board, Mayor. Good to see you. Gregory Miller, Victor Staffito, Delgado Costa. Might be doing this a little bit backwards. I want to explain exactly how they fit into the topics for tonight with regards to the Mustang Springs pit, excuse me. Underwriters are relevant to this transaction on the assumption that it is created, assessments are levied to finance the improvements, and after the assessments are levied, bonds will be sold to reimburse Mr. Kirby for the improvements. Those bonds are issued in the name of the village, but we can go into that later, but they're issued in the name of the village. The underwriter is responsible for marketing those bonds and selling those bonds. But as they mentioned, first what they do is
They will actually go price the bonds. They will buy the bonds themselves. They take it into their inventory. Then they turn around and sell it either the same day or the next 3 or 4 days. So what they're explaining, and I think they did a good job. I'm sorry.
So, yeah, so we actually, during the day of pricing, we sell them into the market, hopefully, and should there not be sufficient demand to take down the viable bonds, that's what we, on a case-by-case basis, use our capital, take down the bond on behalf of the village, that is quite low, so that we don't go back and try to take that risk on ourselves, and then try to sell it into the market at a rate. So we take that risk.
Thank you for that clarification. That can work different ways, and so that's the approach that they're taking. So, but at the end of the day, it is their reputation, and they're expressing confidence in the bonds that they can sell them, and if they can't sell them, they'll take it into their inventory. So a big part of that, which happens at the front end, is a process of due diligence, where the underwriters will submit due diligence questions to the village, submit them to the developer, and they'll really get into the nitty-gritty things you want to know about the development, all the financing details, all the projected build-out, and so forth. Everything you would want to know before you acquired, millions of dollars of bonds. So that is what their role is here, and I think one thing that was referenced that is significant is that they have a credit committee that is versed in assessment districts. So at the front end, they will be working closely with their credit committee to understand what their comfort level is with the project, what kind of questions they might have, what they want to see out of the project, and their work with the credit committee will lead them to let the village know very soon their thoughts on the marketability of the bonds. So that's essentially what they're here for, is to be selected if you choose as the underwriter to sell those bonds to the district.
All right, thank you. Alderman Sandor, do you have any questions? No questions. Alderman Lassiter?
Not at this time, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Hurst?
No question.
Alderman Bunch?
Just for clarification, have they agreed to support Mustang Springs in this? Officially?
If I don't answer this correct, please let me know. He could probably answer it better than I am. But
What was your question?
Have you agreed to take on the Mustang Springs project at this point, or are you still in figuring that out for questioning?
We still don't have enough details right now, so it's still something in the works. But as we get details, we will assess that and then let you know as soon as we have enough information.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman McDonald?
Yes, sir, you might as well stay here. Sure. Thank you. Can you give me thank you for answering questions in advance. I'll be quick though. Can you give me a simple definition of lead versus sold when it came down to the list of communities where you're currently holding PID bonds at?
Yeah, so lead managed would be, let's say there's a $10 million deal. There'll be an underwriting syndicate that can consist of a lead manager who kind of runs the transaction, and then it will consist of also co-managers in certain situations. So it'd be a syndicate with more than one underwriting firm, whereas sole managed is just one underwriting firm.
Which would be yourself.
Correct.
To you.
And typically, in all Texas PID transactions, as most non-rated transactions nationally, there's only one sole manager.
Okay, so with that being stated then, would potentially for Mustang Springs, would this be a lead situation or a sole situation potentially? Do we know that right now?
It would be up to the village. We would be your underwriter.
I understand.
Okay. So yeah, to be determined, we would prefer sole managed given the complexity of the transaction of a non-rated deal, but that would be completely up to you guys. We'd be fine in either role.
Okay, so in either one of those positions, who has the actual command and control factor? In other words, does the lead control the ball, or is it the sole? I mean, under the lead, do you still?
The lead would handle most aspects of the transaction.
Thank you for that. Next question would be is when you spoke earlier about selling versus risk, and I'm just paraphrasing off of what you spoke about earlier. How does Raymond James decide? So in other words, I understand the concept of within a day to 4 days that if you can put it out there to find investors to basically buy the paper in simple terms, right? how do you, how does Raymond James make the decision to buy the paper themselves?
So that's where the credit committee.
And I'm watching back up, standing up
sorry,
already. And if, sir, if you are going to answer, could you please answer from the dais for the record? Thank you.
Yes, sir. I'll take a stab. You want me to take a stab? So once the deal passes credit committee, it has their approval. They're safe with the credit, the deal. Right. And so once that has approval, it's in our system. They are, on a case-by-case basis, comfortable to underwrite a certain amount of bonds. Since it's been approved, they've reviewed the credit. So at that time, they're comfortable saying we can underwrite these bonds on a case-by-case basis. It's hard to speak on future events, but that's kind of where the credit committee comes in. Does that answer your question there? You want to add, Jim?
I heard the question just a little bit differently, but so from what my perspective, I think you were talking about the pricing of the bonds.
Sure.
Like the day of pricing, how does that work? And so we will go out and have a dedicated order period where we're contacting with their sales and traders those institutional investors that have interest in the transaction. That order period is set. It's usually an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours max. We will have pre-marketed those bonds a week and a half, 2 weeks prior to the sell. And so then we'll go through the order period. If we have any unsold maturities, that's where we as an underwriter will come in and take those bonds in inventory.
How often does that, in other words, this probably leads to the next question and my final question, to be fair. So with that final statement, the question is, has Raymond James ever not unloaded PID bonds when they intended to do so, or have you ever had any issues with, I'm going to be very careful with my words, but a solvency issue of if you can?
To my knowledge, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty. I have no, thank you for answering my questions, by the way.
Absolutely.
Mayor, no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Del Rosa, do you have anything else to add?
None, Mayor.
No. All right, I'll open this up for public comments. None? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, make a motion to approve 5A as written for Raymond James.
Motion made by Alderman McDonald to approve Raymond James as the underwriter for any potential Village of Salado special assessment revenue bond transactions for the financing of the Mustang Springs Public Improvement District. Do I have a second? Second. Seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Hurst. Any further discussion?
Yeah, just for one clarification, this is, I believe what I heard Mr. Della Rosa, you said. The initial package had 13 acres that was designed for a school, and now that's been deleted from the agreement? Is that correct?
Yes, sir, on the other agenda item, yeah. That's going to be on the amendment.
That's a different one, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
yes, sir.
Then no other questions. All right.
Okay, any further discussion?
Question.
Question called by Alderman McDonald. All in favor of approving Raymond James as the underwriter for the bond transactions for the financing of the Mustang Springs Public Improvement District, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? That carries 5-0, Mr. De La Rosa. Item B, discussion and possible action.
Mr.
Yes.
If I can interrupt, this would be the opportunity to go to item 6, executive session, since we're going to discuss the creation of the Mustang Springs Improvement District as is one of the items. It's actually 5E, but I think this would be a good time since you've got a couple of items to answer, to pose any legal questions from our bond counsel before we proceed with making, before you proceed with making or considering the items.
All right. One thing, would this interrupt the flow of this? If I were to move item F, I know we have Mr. Lindsay back there
You can take care of the other items and leave those 4, and let's get these folks out of the way. Yes.
Okay, yeah. Are y'all okay with that? I don't want him to have to sit here and wait through all this. All right, we're gonna go through. So we're gonna go through skipping B, C, D, E. We're going to F. All right, item F: discussion and possible action on approving up to 3 variances to the sign ordinance for Heritage Country Church, a business located at 10233 Lark Trail, Salado, Texas. The variance is to the sign ordinance 2018 TAC 10, Section 8A1, pertaining to 1, the sign height. The off-premise location is at the new Taco Bell restaurant located at 10375 Lark Trail, and 3, the illuminating sign space area.
Ms. Pence.
Hey, Ms. Pence.
Good evening, Mayor and Alderman. We are representing the variance request for the sign from the last one due to our applicant was not here with us. So I'm going to go over a few highlights, and then of course the applicant's here to answer any questions that you may have. So, in reference to the sign ordinance 2018-10, as mentioned, section 8A1, the sign height of the ordinance allows for 1 freestanding sign at a maximum height of 10 feet with a sign area of 32 square feet. The variance request is for a sign that's 14 feet, 0.85 inches, and the sign face at 50 square feet. The sign request is for also an off-premise sign to be placed at the new site of the Taco Bell that's currently under construction at the corner of Lark Trail and FM 2484, instead of at the Heritage Church Country Church at 102033 Lark Trail. The owner of the property has given written permission for the sign to be placed on the Taco Bell property, and also in your packet you do have a letter from the Salado Center Development who also had given permission. During that application process, Taco Bell was not the current owner of the property at that time, so that's why you do have 2 letters. I just wanted to reference back to that. And then also I wanted to kind of note something for you. I mentioned this at the last meeting, but I wanted to bring it up again. In our ordinance, the sign ordinance of 2018-10, there is a conflict with that ordinance. In section 10, it lists prohibited signs, types in L, and one of them it lists is the off-premise sign, off-premise commercial signs. Let me be precise about that. And prohibited where section 6 says in general regulations, number 2, a sign can be placed upon a real property without, cannot be placed, I apologize, on the property without consent. And so you see that you do have the 2 consent letters in there, and you can see there's a little bit of conflict within our own ordinance and how you want to take that. And then, of course, the third one was the commercial sign illumination. In section 1, item A through G, list a lot of requirements for that illumination, and you do have a copy of that in your packet as well. That must be followed for the illumination, and of course there's no flashing signs that are allowed. And Mr. Lindsay is here this evening to speak upon this, and I'm sure that he could give more details because we were unsure about the digital aspect of the illumination. So I'm hoping that he can answer some of those questions that you may have as well.
Good evening, guys.
Evening.
Before we start, I just want to say thank you for all you guys do. I know a lot of guys come in here and get on to you and want you to do things and get mad when they don't. I'm not going to be one of those guys. I do appreciate all you do for this city. I know it's a lot of work. My name's Ricky Lindsay. Appreciate you letting me speak tonight. Our church is on Lark Trail, about 3/4 of the way down. Heritage Country Church. We are 7 years old, going on 8. We've grown from 13 people to averaging about 450 people a Sunday. We're second in Bell County to baptisms, only to Vista, who has 4,000 members. We got a lot of good stuff going on right there. We're not just cowboy oriented. We're a country church. We have all our outreaches on the outdoors. We have camping trips, hiking trips. We take people kayaking from the river, pick them up about 4 or 5 miles down, bring them back, cook for them, spend the night, and do all that. We're gaining a lot of events there at our church. We've got a 74,000 square foot covered arena. We had our second annual rodeo in March, and we have barrel practices on Tuesday nights. We've got the team roping program that signed up, and so we've got a lot of events going on. And on those events, we have what's called a dinner bell at our church. It's a you come in and donate money and get you a hamburger, barbecue, whatever you want. We don't, just a suggested deal there. We're adding 45,000 feet to the church. We're hoping to get started in the spring of 26. We're going to have a full court indoor basketball gym, 10 big classrooms for the kids, and a sanctuary that'll hold 1,000 people. We're getting ready for Salado to grow and just getting set up for it. We've got a men and women's conference once a year. We just started all that right there. We have several people already signed up. Christian groups have signed up to, one of them's a Christian volleyball group, and we support all the other churches around. We're hoping we can get together and work with all these other churches and have a place for them as well. If they wanted to host a tournament or something in our facilities, we'd love to have that. Being said, we've got lots to advertise. And I know that I've talked to the mayor and city manager several times about this, and with Gina. And I know that it might be too high or too big. We're willing to work with that. That's just something I suggested. I didn't really know all the rules and stuff. And I know that a lot of people worried. I've heard it go around that if we was to ever leave as a church, what would happen to that sign? I would sign something gladly that if the church ever diminished, the sign would go away. Taco Bell's been very, very good with us. Dwayne didn't mind at all. Matter of fact, he encouraged it. He said a church sign on this property would bless it. It wouldn't bother him a bit. So Taco Bell didn't have a problem with it. And I know there's an electric sign up at Amy's Attic, right in front of that real busy school intersection. I don't think there's much of a problem there. We just want to get the word out about what we got going on. And people could come down the road and say, hey, there's barbecue tonight. Hey, there's hamburgers tonight. So come in. We all know this. There's not a time right now where churches need to be doing all the outreach they can. We're living in times right now where evil everywhere you look, you know, and we're not Republican, Democrat. We're for God or we're against Him, and that's the bottom line. We just are hoping and praying that you guys will consider it and let us have this sign. I believe we can really, the whole community would profit from it. Salado would profit from it. And I just hope this happens. And like I said, like I've said before, if we need to shorten the footage, if we need to shorten the sign, I'm just asking for this, hoping we can get something. But it would really benefit the town on letting people know what we got going on right there. And we're just excited about helping out any way we can. We've got a big fall festival, Easter festival. We had a big Pioneer festival here a few months ago. We had about 1,500 people there that day. We'll teach you how to plant, we'll teach you how to pickle, can. All that stuff's free, and you get to take some stuff home with you. So, Lord has sent us a lot of people in a short amount of time to help get your church going, and we'd just love that sign to advertise, let people know what we're doing. Thanks for your time, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Lindsay, are there any plans to rent this sign out to local businesses?
No, sir.
None at all?
No, sir.
Okay,
No, sir.
Good. All right.
None at all, and I'll put that in writing for anybody that needs it.
Okay. Alderman Sandor?
Yes, sir. Mr. Lindsay?
Yes, sir.
I don't know who to direct this to, but I'll direct it to you.
Yes,
So
sir.
Are you looking for a marquee sign that scrolls that's going to be delivering a message, or is it a fixed illuminated sign? I don't understand.
Kind of a fixed illuminating sign. Just, it'd say tomorrow night from 8 to 10, hamburgers, hot dogs, whatever.
So it will be a marquee then? Is that?
It'll be an electric sign.
where the message can be changed?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It is LED.
Understood.
Yeah.
So it would be the Heritage Church logo and then
That
another.
would be permanent.
Okay.
It'd say Heritage Country Church on top. That'd just be a fixed, something that y'all could approve. It'd just be a fixed black and white sign up on top of that. And then underneath it would just be advertising, say Fall Festival, September, whatever, from this time to this time.
And you also mentioned that you weren't aware of some of the rules about the commercial signs when you proposed this height and square footage
That's
of
correct.
the space.
Yes, sir.
I think that the height and the square footage is awfully close to what we already allow. Do you need it to be a little bit bigger, knowing that it's outside of the parameters that are currently set?
If you said you got to shorten it down to have our LED sign, we'd do that.
But
Yes,
you
sir.
would prefer it to be the size that you're asking
Well, I
for?
mean, what I think, what we got, 50 square foot, you know, Manny, what we got
Yes,
on
sir.
there? So 10 by 5, I mean, we could go 4 by 8 and make it 32, whatever.
And 32 is what is allowed.
10 foot.
No, 32 square feet, 8 by 4
10 foot
is allowed.
elevation.
No.
20.
The face.
I understand.
Yes.
So how tall?
10 feet.
Okay.
I don't have any other questions. Alderman Lassiter? Mayor Pro Tem Hurst?
Which direction will that sign be facing? East, west, north, south?
It'll be facing east-west. Yes, sir.
The 2484.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How bright is that going to be? Is that going to be a distraction at nighttime, or are you going to turn that off at say 10 o'clock at night?
Well, I think Amy's Attic runs all the time. And
But it's not right on the highway as you're driving by. Is what
It's
we're
right. It's
saying.
pretty close right on it. Yes, sir. But not doing an apple for an apple there, sir. But,
Oh, right. No, I was
Yes,
just saying, is it going to be shut off at like 10 o'clock at night? Or is
I
it going to be on?
hadn't thought about that.
I
I've drove by Amy's Attic sign for the last few years. I mean, it's got the time and date, and they're putting stuff on there here and there, and it doesn't seem to be bothering me. I think there's probably if it's a state regulation or some kind of regulation that it can't be past such brightness or whatever. I don't know. I'd have to look into that.
I think it's
That's a question for Ms. Pence, yes. It's got a 10 p.m. or while the business is operating. So if it's not operating, so in other words, but say that it's a rodeo and it's part of the church and it goes to midnight, then it can be open until midnight. But if it's closed that day, then it shuts off earlier.
Well, if you just find out at about midnight, you just missed the whole show anyway, so, you know.
Okay. All right, that's all I have.
Yes, sir.
Alderman Dunch?
Yeah, this is more of a question for Mr. De La Rosa. If I recall correctly, we had a recent change with the Taco Bell sign. What did we allow for Taco Bell?
It was a variance height.
So 25.
It was substantially more than what he's asking for, both in height and in square feet, as I recall. I remember that. Yeah. Okay.
What I haven't seen, and bear this in mind, we've not seen the Taco Bell sign yet. And this is what generally happens when you have two tall signs on the same property. They block the view from each other because they're competing for the same space or so. If they're both at the same height and they're only 20 feet, 30 feet, it's not a very large track, right? They've subdivided that track into 50% reduction. You almost in the primary business is Taco Bell, not the church, right? So in other words, that's why, since it's not their property, it's an off-premise sign, should it be at that same height? And if it is, we haven't even seen the sign application or any permit for Taco Bell. Have they submitted yet? So do we know where they're going to be on the ground, the separation? Yeah, you see? And those are generally concerns, because even this, I know it's going at the very corner, but if it's much taller and you're coming eastbound, you may block some of that view. So it's a coordinated effort, but nobody thinks about it until it's up.
Until it's up, and then they're like,
and then
you're blocking my
somebody
sign,
says,
and you're not,
I agree, and it's a good question. I talked to Dwayne with Taco Bell about that. He said, we'll figure it out. We'll do one here, whatever, but people's going to know Taco Bell's there. And once people know it's Taco Bell's there, they don't need that sign to find it, but it is a good point, Mr. Del Rosa.
I think that if you set the maximum height, and then we work with both parties to make sure they're not in conflict. In other words,
I'd agree with that.
it can't exceed the same height, right? I just don't know. It's a 10 by 5. And that becomes a billboard in front of the Taco Bell sign, right? I mean, and that's the concern, right? So we're just trying to address this before we get out there.
Sounds like it might be better to go 4 by 8 instead of 5 by 10, and then make it not the same height as Taco Bell. We'd be fine with that. I'd work with Taco Bell on that.
I mean, if theirs is that much higher and yours going to probably get more visibility being lower for sure.
Yes,
sir. So I was just I tried to drive past to see the aesthetics, and I knew we approved a variance for Taco Bell. I just didn't know the exact specifics. So, okay, I don't think I have any other questions. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Alderman McDonald.
When you having burgers next?
If you ever had our burgers or barbecue, you'd be moving up in that area. We have a world champion barbecue team up there that have won more trophies than you can put in this building. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but they've won a lot. And all our hamburger meat does not come from. It comes from a company where it's the real hamburger meat like we used to get back in the day. You'll get a real good hamburger with all farm vegetables and all that good stuff.
Thank you for answering that question, because my peers here have already asked all the other questions and left me with just asked about the cheeseburgers. Thank you.
All right.
So, no further questions, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
We good?
Yeah. Alderman Dunch, the elevation difference is probably enough separation already. The only thing else that you would consider would be the road elevation as you're traveling. Yep. You can't control that, right? Roads go up and down a little bit. I think probably the Taco Bell guy, from the research I did on their company, they've done a lot of these. And I'm quite sure before they gave him permission to request the sign on their property, they probably made sure that they weren't blocking the Taco Bell sign. I think that's probably why there's an elevation difference. Well, I think they were saying they were looking already a variance, but I think the square footage on the Taco Bell was it's greater. It's much greater, yes, and that's why it's the height and the overall square footage on either side of the sign is greater than what he's talking about.
Before we ever signed the contract, we told him about that easement on that sign, and it bothered him for about 10 minutes. He said, "Hey, we're going to work this out. If a church sign's on our property, it's an easement. We don't have no problem with that at all." He said, "We're going to have to work this out." He kind of brought up what Mr. De La Rosa did, height and things been in a way, but he said, we're hoping we can be higher than y'all's. And he said, "We're not going to get QT, we're not going to get that, but hope we can get something." But I said, "I just want to work with you. Want to work with all of y'all. Whatever we do to make it work."
Okay, thank you. But what was the P&Z's take on this? Did they approve this variance?
Yeah, 2-1, right? Oh, that's right.
Okay.
That's the way the ordinance is written. Only the variance can be granted by the governing body.
Got it.
It doesn't even go before the planning zone.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate y'all.
I'll open this up for public comments. Yes, sir. Yes, please. If you don't mind, sir, state your name and address for the record.
Name Jim Athey, address 9128 Stidham Mill Road, Salado.
Okay.
I only have one suggestion. Why don't you incorporate them, put one on top of the other? That's all.
Give us your name again, sir.
Jim Athey, A-T-H-E-Y.
Got it. Thank you.
Anybody else? Nope. All right. I'll open it up for a motion. So you're denying the variance? The variance is I don't understand that. So you're wanting to go, you're approving it at a lower height and square footage?
32 and 79.
Okay.
And then it's not used, and we'll take it out. And when the church does move down, it will go away. I think that's good.
Yeah. Okay, motion made by Alderman Dunch to keep it at 32. With 32 square feet at 10 feet high. Advertising, like set it up and advertising. If the church goes away, it goes away. Some stay down the road. But the location, and put it on the location is properly known. All right, we have a second.
I'd like to do the height. Let them go up a little bit higher. That's what keep the square footage the same. But have them work with Taco Bell and we give them authority to make sure it's separated. But
So you want to amend it?
Amend it that they have the ability to go up to 14 feet of grass.
180.85.
14 or 20, yeah.
20.
I'm looking right at it.
Is it 180 inches, 180.85 inches to the bottom?
So amendment to it is to allow them to go up to their 180.25 inches at 32 square foot sign. Under the agreement that it will not be rented out by the advertising, and if it ever goes away, the church will sign the agreement.
Second. All right, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Hurst. Any further discussion?
I can concur with everything. I'm currently saying this. I'm concurring with the 180.85 inches. Would you consider this? Would you consider the 60 inches by 120 inches?
There's already a motion and a second.
Well,
for this.
Okay, then we're going to move forward then.
So the motion is to, has been seconded to keep it at 32 square feet at the 14-foot height, correct?
180.25.
Okay.
All right, any other discussion?
And you can work with Taco Bell to figure out up to that.
Question called by Mayor Pro Tem Hurst. All in favor of approving the variance as outlined by Alderman Dunch, specify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no.
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 Any abstentions? So that carries 3-2. I'm a yes, sorry. Okay. Yes, that carries 3-2.
I have a question. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just so new to this. Okay. If I don't agree with Alderman Dunch's motion and second, what can be done? Nothing, because he spoke before me.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Next item is G. Discussion and possible action on appointing Jesse Mondragon as a regular member to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a term ending May 31, 2027. Ms. Pence.
Thank you, Mayor and Alderman. At the August 7th Board of Aldermen meeting, the board approved, nominated, and appointed of Mr. Mondragon to an alternate position for the Planning and Zoning Commission. After that point, we found out later in the month that Ms. Turnbow, who was a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission, she had decided not to reapply for the commission position. Therefore, that has opened up a regular member seat, and staff is recommending that the board consider Mr. Mondragon for this position with the term ending May 31st of 2027. This would fill all of the current member positions for the planning and zoning. And the reason why I stated it that way, because we have member positions and then we have alternate. And that would allow us to have the members all completed. And then at a later time, we could decide if we wanted to fill any alternate positions moving forward. And that is all I have for you, unless you have any questions for me regarding this matter.
Okay, thank you, Alderman Sandor. No questions. Alderman Lassiter? Mayor Pro Tem Hurst? No questions. Alderman Dunn? No questions. Alderman McDonald?
No questions, Mayor.
Thank you. Any public comments on this item? All right, hearing none, I will open it up for a motion. Thank you, Ms. Pence.
Mayor, make a motion to approve item 5G as presented.
Motion made by Alderman McDonald to approve item 5G as presented. Seconded. Seconded by Alderman Dunn. Any further discussion?
Question.
Question called by Alderman McDonald. All in favor of appointing Jesse Mondragon as a regular member to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a term ending May 31st, 2027, say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? That carries 5-0. Item H, discussion and
Mayor,
possible.
this would probably be a good time to go into the executive
Oh,
session.
you're right, okay. All right, it is 8:11. At this time, we are going to enter into executive session. 8:11. All right, it's 8:59 and we are leaving executive session, reconvening back into the regular Board of Aldermen meeting. Item 5B, discussion and possible action to approve an assignment agreement relating to the development of the proposed Mustang Springs Public Improvement District. Is that Mr. Del Rosa or is you?
Yep, it's me. So let's see here. This is an assignment agreement from Mustang Development LLC to Kirby Ventures LLC, and that's all I have, Mayor.
All right. Yeah, no, we're not ready for that yet. Alderman Sandor, you have any questions?
No questions.
Alderman Lassiter? Mayor Pro Tem Hurst?
No questions.
Alderman Bunch?
No questions.
Alderman McDonald?
I do have a question, actually, Mayor. May I ask Mr. Kirby to come back up and ask him a quick question?
Sure. Mr. Carver, can you come up, please?
Thank you. I'll be quick, Mr. Kirby.
He won't. Yes, all right.
Thank you, Mr. Kirby. Yes, Mayor. My question is pretty direct and simple. Recently, at least what I've noticed in documentation, you've changed LLC underwriting. In other words, you started this as one LLC, now there's a new LLC. We talked about that earlier today, just very lightly. Can you possibly tell me who are the members of your LLC? In other words, who are your partners? Can you tell me that?
Yes, there's only two partners
Yes,
in
sir.
that LLC. It's myself and a gentleman by the name of Michael Johnson. It's really two partnerships between Kirby Ventures and MDJ. I'm sorry.
It's okay. That's why I'm trying to play catch up.
Yeah, it's a MJ. What is it? Thank you. LLC. So it's those two LLCs together. But it's one other gentleman who represents basically a family fund and myself.
But you're the prime. In other words, your LLC in and of itself, you're the dominant primary, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's all I needed to know because I just want to get that clarity on that too as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
It wasn't that long, Mayor.
All right, any public comments on this? No? All right, I'll open the floor for a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mayor, that we approve the assignment as presented by our legal counsel as written.
Okay, motion made by Alderman Lasser to approve as presented.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman McDonald. Any further discussion?
Question.
Question called by Mayor Pro Tem Hurst. All in favor of approving an assignment agreement relating to the development of the proposed Mustang Springs Public Improvement District, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? That carries 5-0. Item C, discussion and possible action on amendment to a development agreement relating to the property within the proposed Mustang Springs Public Improvement District. Mr. De La Rosa?
I believe you all have the development agreement amendment in front of you. I wanted to point out one change that we need to make. It is at section 3.1.14, public facility substations.
Yep. Can you repeat that, sir?
Yes, sir. It's 3.1.14, public facility substations.
It's page 3.
Thank you.
I could have said that, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
So what's the change to the fire station?
Okay, so briefly speaking, so what you'll see is kind of the sequence of this is subsection A is saying the developer is responsible for designing and constructing police and fire substations.
Mm-hmm.
B is that 6 months from today, should you create, you'll have concept plans approved. And, you'll be operating in good faith throughout that, so that could be extended if you needed to extend that. Then C is where we need to make a revision. The idea is that within 3 months of the concept plan being agreed to, the initial set of architectural designs will be presented to the village. The way it's drafted now, it says 3 months within the date of this agreement. It needs to say within 3 months of the approval of the concept plan. So.
Within 3 months of the approval
Yes, sir.
of the amendment.
Of the concept plan.
The approval of the concept.
Approval.
Yeah.
Of the concept plan.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
So that would be within 9 months total.
If all, assuming that 6 month period works.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any objection from the other side?
No.
No? Okay.
I didn't mean to speak for you.
Good?
Yeah, I didn't mean to speak for them. That's it.
All right. Okay, thank you.
They don't object. Yeah, they're good. Yeah.
So the motion should be subject to that change, Mayor, or whoever makes it.
Okay. All right, any, is that all you had?
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, any public comments on this? All right, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, make a motion to approve 5C as written with the additional language on page 3 of the police substation, Charlie, with the approval of concept plan or some language thereof.
Motion made by Alderman McDonald as he presented. Second. Seconded by Alderman Sandor. Any further discussion? Question called by Mayor Pro Tem Hurst. All in favor of approving the amendment to the development agreement relating to the property within the proposed Mustang Springs Public Improvement District, specify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? That carries 5-0. Item D, discussion and possible action to authorize a financing agreement with the developer of the proposed Mustang Springs Public Improvement District.
I think Mr. Miller should address the financing agreement.
Why don't you pull a chair up there, bud?
Yeah. So the name is pretty innocuous. It's a financing agreement. What it is actually is the mechanics of how the project is going to be financed. So basically it addresses a potential levy of assessments, and then the use of those assessments to either reimburse the developer directly or through the issuance of PID bonds. More specifically, this agreement gives the overarching terms for the financing, and then as we get closer to assessment, there'll be a separate acquisition and reimbursement agreement, which will address how the specific improvements will be acquired by the village. So it's a lengthy document, of course, but most of it is just the mechanics of how the improvements are going to be approved, how invoices are going to be submitted, how they're going to be paid out. I think some of the key things that I really kind of want to make sure that are understood is that these proceeds from assessments or bonds are only going to be used to reimburse for completed improvements. Sometimes you'll see things where assessments are used or bond proceeds are used to pay as work progresses. This one is going to be paid only to reimburse. I think that's kind of the key thing here. That's really kind of, I can answer more specific questions if you have any, but that's the kind of the highlight I wanted to emphasize. Yes, sir.
Alderman Sandor? No question. Alderman Lassiter?
No questions. Thank you for the clarification.
Yep. Mayor Pro Tem Hurst?
No questions.
Alderman Dutch?
No questions.
Alderman McDonald?
No questions, Mayor.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any public comments? Nope. All right. I'll open it up for motion.
Mayor, make a motion to approve 5D. as written.
Motion made by Alderman McDonald to authorize a financing agreement with the developer of the proposed Mustang Springs Public Improvement District. Second. Seconded by Alderman Dunch. Any further discussion?
Question.
Question called by Mayor Pro Tem Hurst. All in favor of authorizing a financing agreement with the developer of the proposed Mustang Springs Public Improvement District, specify by saying yes.
Yes. Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? That carries 5-0, Mr. De La Rosa. Item E, discussion and possible action on a resolution authorizing the Mustang Springs Public Improvement District and related dissolution agreement.
Okay, thank you. So, as you noted, this is in two parts. The first one is the creation of the district. It's actually authorizing the creation of the district. Once you do this, the district will be created, and then the due diligence and so forth, preparing for the financing will begin. I think at the same time, though, you need to look at the dissolution agreement. This is kind of the checks and balances piece of it. The main part of this dissolution agreement, I think from your perspective, might be that the parties agree that the district will be dissolved within 3 years if either of two conditions are not met. The first one being that within the 3 years, evidence sufficient to y'all, getting good professional, judgment, that there's not going to be enough water to support the development of phase one, or if within 3 years, within your legislative discretion, you choose not to levy assessments on the property. So yeah, and so basically I just realized in the development agreement, if we didn't talk about the public safety facility. We can go back to that if you want, but basically I think the main thing here is the terms of dissolution. It comes down to needing to see enough water for phase one. I think is the key term for y'all.
And also, within 3 years, if there's no water, the levy hasn't been affected.
Right, or you don't, and those really go hand in hand. If you haven't levied assessments either for a reason like no water.
All right, Alderman Sandler, you have any questions? No questions. Alderman Lassiter?
Is that water requirement? Does that water requirement, Manny, also include the storage facility in terms of it being there as a completed item in phase one?
Yes, sir. It's in our codes.
Okay.
Yes.
No further questions. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Hurst?
No questions.
Alderman Dunch?
No questions.
Alderman McDonald?
Mr. Miller, can you go over those two pieces one more time, please? And I'm just paraphrasing. Water for phase one and levy assessment. Can you restate that for me one more time so I can understand it clearly?
Yes, for the first one, and I'll keep doing this until I get it right. The first one, within the next 3 years, Mr. Kirby would need to come to y'all and say, hey, we have sealed plans from engineers, TCEQ signed off. We have X million, gallons per day of potable water to serve phase one, and everybody agrees, in your consultant's professional judgment. Yes, he has that. That's one requirement that needs to be fulfilled within 3 years. The other requirement would be, and I think these really go hand in hand, is that y'all need to levy assessments on the district within 3 years. So both of those need to happen.
Thank you for the clarity. That helps me immensely.
Yeah, okay.
No further questions, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we will, yeah. Thank you. And Prabha wanted me to remind y'all to, before voting, to close it here.
Okay. Any public comments on this?
And if I could just take it.
Go ahead.
We all agree on the first phase of water within 3 years. Okay, great. Okay, that's what I did. And that's out of order. I'm sorry.
Larry Michaels. The only concern I have is I think there's ambiguity in sufficient water. He quoted a number that I don't necessarily agree with that's adequate to supply those homes, plus the 1,500 gallon per minute that's required for fire. I think there should be some clarification in that paragraph to make it very clear what the requirement is. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? No, Mr. Rose, do you have anything you want to add to any of this?
No, sir, I just want to make sure that we go back and close the public hearing before you vote on this item.
Right.
That's
Okay.
it. Thank you.
At this time, we're going to go back to, what item was that?
Item number 4A.
4A. And we're going to go ahead and close out the public hearing.
9:15 a.m. 9:15 p.m.
9:15 p.m. Yeah. All right. So moving on. Any more public comments on E? No. All right. Then I'll. I just want to state it one more time for the record. That again, no levies will be assessed until we know water is available. And if no water is available or levies assessed by September, is this prior to September 4th, 2000, or from today's date?
Yes.
The 18th, I'm sorry, the 4th, that it would be dissolved, or it would come back to us for dissolution, or to the board, whoever's on the board at that time. So, all right, I'll open the floor for motion on this.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve 5E as presented.
Motion made, Mayor Pro Tem Hurst, to approve item E as presented. Do I have a second?
It's already in there. September 4th, 2028.
Yeah. Seconded by Alderman Dunch. Any further discussion?
Question.
Question called by Alderman McDonald. All in favor of authorizing the Mustang Springs Public Improvement District and related dissolution agreement, specify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? That carries 5-0. All right, we are now going to item H, correct? Discussion and possible action on approving ordinance number 2024 TAC 13A, an ordinance of the Village of Salado amending ordinance number 2024 TAC 13, adopting the fiscal year 2024-25 annual operating budget for the Village of Salado, Texas, declaring findings of fact, providing an effective date, providing a severability clause, and providing an open meetings clause. Mr. De La Rosa.
Okay, Mr. Mayor and Alderman, this is the amending budget for fiscal year 24-25. It has all of the revenues and expenses through the end of July, not August. We won't have that until sometime next week. So I did not want to delay this any longer to the 18th. Regardless if we had any expenses, for example, a project we're working on, the gateway signs, and we finish it up the last week of September, as long as we build it with the bill and we resolve all of it in the last 30 days or by the end of October, it'll still be in this current fiscal year, and all that would be reconciled and amended at the end, if not by our accountant, then by our auditor when we close the books out. So, in other words, so this is about as close as we can get to where we are now. This includes all of the reimbursements of the property taxes based on the petition and the voters approved in May of this year. all revenues and expenses so far. We've made some changes, as Ms. Pence indicated at the last meeting. Some line items, we're trying to get better at tracking these, some of these revenues when we're collecting from development fees that we're paying out. It's just a pass-through, those kind of tracking mechanisms. So you'll see that. We have the Williams Road sidewalk project conversation we had today, Ms. Pence and I, is we're not tracking it. And she hit it on the nose because we did not have a capital improvement project plan that listed that roadway, that project. So it's difficult for us to go, it's a pass-through, right? We've been fronting some of the funds to pay back our engineers, and then we submit the bill to the school district and they reimburse us based on the funds that, that they were gonna use this for. But when we get, sometime in October, you're gonna award them a contract for the contractor. It's the city's project, not the school district, not anybody else. So we're thinking that next year, which you've already seen part of it. We're going to build on that Williams Road and track the construction. I don't want to fund the construction and then wait for the school district to reimburse us. We're gonna kind of change that up, or we're gonna collect first before we make our payments. You see, but we want to track those expenses. Here's why. Williams Road right now, it looks like we get a bill from MRB, it's an expense, we send an invoice to the school district, the funds come in, PR tracking it, how it's coming and how it's being expensed, right? You see the dilemma? So, no software here in the house, and try to keep track of it. So, this is the best we have for today, based at the end of July, and this appropriations ordinance that you take a.
Alderman Sandor, you have any questions?
I do not have any questions.
Alderman Lassiter?
And translating that to me in simple terms, we don't have any expenses unanticipated of any major significance in the last 2 months of the year to affect these annualized budget numbers that you foresee at this point, other than what's projected here?
Not at all.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem Hurst?
No questions.
Alderman Dunch? Alderman McDonald?
No questions, Mayor.
All right, any public comments? All right, then I'll open the floor for discussion, or for a motion, please.
Make a motion that we approve 5H as written.
Motion made by Alderman McDonald to approve item 5H as presented. Second. Seconded by Alderman Dunch. Any further discussion?
Question.
Question called by Mayor Pro Tem Hurst. All in favor of approval of item 5H as presented, say yes.
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 Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? That carries 5-0. Do we need to go back to, oh, I'm sorry. All right, down the line. Alderman Sandor. How do you vote?
Yeah. Okay.
Alderman Lassiter?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hurst?
Yes.
Alderman Dunch?
Yes.
Alderman McDonald?
Yes.
Carries 5-0. All right, do we need to go back and amend C, is what, with the public safety aspect of that agreement? Is that what?
We need to admit I was there.
Huh?
He was just going to explain the public safety aspects and see. But if you don't need it, we're good to go home.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. Then next item is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved. 9:23.